I'm not going to support your kids if you're not loyal to me. That was Kody Brown to Janelle on national television. And if you thought that was bad, it gets worse, because not long after Kody seriously tried to convince both Mary and Janelle, two women he had emotionally abandoned, to help financially support Robin's children. Let that sink in. He wanted child support from the wives he discarded so he could continue playing favorite with the one wife he never left. How did we get here? Hi, I'm Helena, and you're watching TLC's Sister Wives News, your place for deep dives, truth bombs, and raw emotional commentary based solely on what we've all witnessed on Sister Wives. If you're as shocked and heartbroken by what this family has become as I am, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button, and please leave me a comment. Should Janelle or Mary owe Kody anything after everything he put them through? Because today we're digging into the real story behind Kody's demand for child support and how it exposed the years of imbalance, manipulation, and emotional devastation inside the Brown family, from Kody's obsessive favoritism toward Robin to the slow, painful alienation of Christine, Janelle, and Mary, to the quiet moments when each wife found the strength to walk away from a man who only showed up for one of them. This isn't just gossip. This is a deep look at the fallout of a spiritual marriage that promised equality but delivered heartbreak. So buckle up, because the truth about Kody Brown's favoritism, control, and financial gaslighting is uglier than TLC ever expected us to see, and yet we saw it all. Let's break it down. It didn't happen all at once. Kody didn't just wake up one day and crown Robin the queen of the family. No, it was slower than that, quieter, more painful. It began with the little things. Back in the Las Vegas seasons, Kody was always juggling his time, 4 homes, 4 wives, nearly 20 kids. It was chaotic, but it was balanced, or at least it looked balanced. But once Robin joined the family, and especially once she became the only wife legally married to Kody, everything began to shift. Suddenly, Kody wasn't just spending the night at Robin's more often, he was practically living there. Christine noticed it first. She mentioned it in confessional interviews as early as season 6 that she felt pushed to the side, that Kody no longer made her feel special, and that Robin, she was getting the time, the affection, the attention. Then Janelle said it. Kody's visits were becoming less predictable. He was always busy or dealing with things at Robin's house, and Mary, she clung to hope, but you could see it in her eyes. Even she realized that the once Robin came along, she lost her place as the emotional wife, the confidant, the one. Kody leaned on Robin. Didn't ask for that crown, but she never refused it either. She became the one Kody trusted with big decisions, the one he defended no matter what, the one whose kids he prioritized. And slowly the other wives were pushed to the background until they barely existed in Kody's daily life. It was never more obvious than during Kody imposed strict protocols on the family. Janelle and Christine, who had adult children in and out of their homes, were suddenly labeled irresponsible. But Robin had a spotless house, obedient rules, no one coming or going. So that's where Kody stayed for months. He blamed safety, but the truth was clear. Robin's home wasn't just his favorite, it was his only home. Christine later said it outright. He's not just with Robin more, he's not with us at all. That wasn't just favoritism, that was abandonment. And as the divide grew, so did the pain. Each wife, once promised equality, was left standing in the shadows, wondering when Kody would look their way again. Spoiler, he never really did. Love shouldn't come with conditions, but in Kody Brown's world it did. One by one, his wives learned that loyalty meant obedience, that closeness had to be earned, and that if you didn't fall in line, you'd be left behind. Let's start with Janelle. Janelle was always the independent one, logical, self-sufficient, not overly emotional, but even she couldn't avoid Kody's shifting expectations. In season 17, Kody demanded that Janelle choose sides, either support him fully or lose access to him entirely when she stood by her sons during the COVID fallout. Kody lashed out. He accused her of betrayal. He said she wasn't loyal enough, all because she wouldn't exile her own children to appease him. It wasn't a conversation, it was an ultimatum. Christine got it worse for years. Viewers watched her bend and contort herself for scraps of affection. She begged Kody to be present, to be engaged, to want her, but every time she expressed pain, Kody flipped it on her. He said she was playing the victim, that she didn't respect the family enough. He used their daughter Troll's heart surgery as a wedge, claiming Christine made decisions without him, when in reality he had checked out long before. And when Christine finally decided to leave, Kody accused her of breaking the family, as if he hadn't been emotionally absent for years. Then there's Mary, the wife who endured the longest emotional starvation, even after her catfishing scandal. Mary tried for years to win Kody back. She offered olive branches, expressed her love, sat patiently waiting for his approval, but Kody made it clear, on camera and off, that he had no romantic interest in her, yet he never officially released her either. He let her dangle, because keeping her loyal without giving her love was still power. These women weren't just partners, they became emotional hostages. They lived in a marriage where love had to be negotiated, respect had to be proven, and validation was never guaranteed except for Robin. Robin never had to beg, she never had to prove her worth. She was accepted, adored, and defended from the moment she entered. Kody praised her as obedient, respectful, and loyal to the family, but the truth, Robin was loyal to him, and that's all Kody ever wanted. While the other wives twisted themselves into knots trying to please a man who always moved the finish line, Robin was already standing at the finish with Kody by her side. That's not love, that's control. And over time, the strong, hopeful women we met in season 1 became tired, isolated shadows of themselves, until one by one they began to realize this wasn't the life they signed up for, and it was never going to get better. If there was ever a moment that broke the illusion of fairness in the Brown family, this was it. In the later seasons, long after the emotional foundations of the family had cracked, Kody dropped a bombshell so outrageous, so tone-deaf that fans were left speechless. He wanted child support. Not for Logan or Gabriel, or even Leon. No, he wanted Janelle and Mary, women he was no longer married to financially contribute to Robin's children. Let that sink in. Kody Brown, who had already all but abandoned Mary and emotionally ejected Janelle from his orbit, still felt entitled to their money to help raise Robin's kids. And Robin, she didn't stop him. She sat quietly, as she often does when things get messy, and let the man she loves humiliate and alienate the rest of the family. Janelle wasn't having it. Her reaction was swift, sharp, fierce. She had already sacrificed so much, moving to Flagstaff, living in a tiny RV on Coyote Pass, scraping together every dime to maintain independence. And now this Kody, who hadn't supported her emotionally or financially in years, wanted her to fund the life he was living with another woman. She said no, flat out, without apology. It wasn't just unfair, it was insulting. And Mary emotionally abandoned and manipulate them into supporting the wife he never let go of. This wasn't plural marriage anymore. This was Kody and Robin, and everyone else just footing the bill. And in that moment, any last shred of equal wives mythology died, because if Kody was asking for child support from women he barely spoke to, then clearly he wasn't just done being a husband, he was done pretending he ever really was one. Robin Brown has long painted herself as the misunderstood one, the outsider, the emotional wreck caught in the crossfire of a collapsing plural marriage. But at What point do the tears the constant? Tears stop being about pain and start being about manipulation. Throughout the later seasons, we see a Robin who cries when Kody is questioned, cries when the other wives express frustration, and cries when the family dynamic fractures, yet somehow never seems to cry for them over and over. Robin tells the camera, "I don't remember it that way." Whether it's Christine recalling Kody's absence, Janelle talking about broken promises, or Mary explaining her emotional exile, Robin always seems to have a different version of reality, a version where she's innocent, where Kody is misunderstood, and where the other wives somehow are always to blame. Let's call it what it is, selective memory. Because while she clutches her tissue and wipes her eyes, she continues to defend every single one of Kody's most controversial decisions. His refusal to travel between homes during Robin backed at his accusations against Christine. Robin stood by him, his demands for child support from Janelle and Mary. Not a word of protest. Robin became Kody's emotional shield, his loyal soldier, always offering a sympathetic ear, always ready to validate his victim complex. And what did she get in return? Everything: time, attention, financial security, while Christine lived in a separate state, while Janelle camped in an RV, while Mary was emotionally ghosted. Robin lived in a luxury home with full-time access to Kody and her children, always prioritized the result, a slow but undeniable power shift in the family. Robin didn't just benefit, she rose while the others fell. Christine eventually said it out loud, "I don't trust her." Janelle admitted to feeling like Robin had become the preferred wife. And Mary, even at her most loyal, confessed that she never felt emotionally safe around Robin. The tension wasn't imagined, it was visible, palpable, and growing with every episode. So, is Robin a victim of the chaos, or did she quietly build her throne on top of the wreckage? One thing is certain: while the other wives fought for scraps of attention, Robin played the long game, and in Kody's new world, she came out on top. There comes a moment in every storm where the thunder quiets and the survivors rise from the wreckage with clarity, strength, and purpose. For the sister wives, that moment finally arrived. Christine was the first to draw the line. Her voice, once soft and eager to please, began to crack with exhaustion. In one unforgettable moment, she looked directly at the camera and said what millions of viewers had been screaming for years: "I'm not going to be in a marriage where I'm not respected." After years of playing second or third fiddle to Robin, after Kody dismissed her needs and questioned her loyalty, Christine walked away, not in bitterness, but in power. She packed her things, left Flagstaff behind, and started a new chapter for herself and her children. And in doing so, she didn't just break free, she lit the path for the others. Then came Janelle, the rock, the practical one. For years, she held the family together with calm wisdom and quiet endurance. But when Kody tried to force her to choose between him and her own sons, she drew a hard line. "You're not going to talk about my boys that way," she told him, eyes fierce, voice steady. She didn't flinch, she didn't apologize, and when Kody accused her of being disloyal, she stood taller. Janelle finally chose herself and her children over a man who demanded obedience but refused to give love. And finally, Mary. For years, she clung to the hope that Kody would come back to her, even after the catfish scandal, after he publicly declared he no longer considered himself married to her. She stayed, but loyalty, when unreturned, becomes a prison. And Mary finally walked out of the cell. She may not have slammed the door like Christine or roared like Janelle, but her quiet departure echoed loudest of all. After years of waiting, hoping, and being emotionally erased, she let go. This was the reckoning. The wives, once voiceless and unseen, reclaimed their identities. They stopped making excuses for Kody's favoritism, stopped biting their tongues for the sake of family and the public. They noticed support poured in for Christine, Janelle, and Mary. Viewers who once watched in confusion were now watching in solidarity, cheering these women on as they took their lives back. Meanwhile, Kody and Robin, once the self-proclaimed victims, were left alone in the center of a kingdom that had collapsed, and the world had finally seen the truth. What began as a bold experiment in love and unity has now unraveled into a cautionary tale. We watched as control crept in, as favoritism hardened into resentment, as manipulation replaced trust. Kody once stood at the head of a plural family, built on the promise of equality, yet over time that promise was broken again and again. Christine, Janelle, and Mary weren't just wives, they were women whose identities were slowly erased in the name of family. But now their healing is raw, it's powerful, and it's public. They're showing the world that it's never too late to reclaim your voice. And Kody, Robin still clutching to a version of their story that no longer exists, rewriting memories, shifting blame, and wondering why the others walked away. But we know why, we saw it happen, so now I turn it over to you. Do you think Kody ever truly saw all his wives as equals? Or was it always destined to fall apart? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone.